Year 9. This is Emerald Primary School. Nah, there's nothing that exciting in here. Holy shit, this goes on and on. Was that not the ending you're after?
Sounds like a bit of a rushed ending, to be honest.
I'll just read you this poem first. Fencing. Fencing is fun when it's with your mum. You poke out their eyes and eat their French fries. But you'd have to be a bit dumb.
Wow.
So in today's episode...
Whoa! We're back.
We're back. Welcome to episode something. Today's episode...
Or rather...
I didn't really want to do it, but Mark says I have to.
Yeah, I just want him to read a story out of his Year 9 diary.
I found, a diary from Year 9 that... I mean, it's
50 years ago, 60 years ago.
So I was 14, and now I'm 45, so you work it out.
Written in 1988, and there is some gold in there.
So we've just been reading through it. It's like 2 weeks worth of journal, and it's basically of me trying to fill time.
It's like by the end, just rushing it through.
And I've written weird stories and just poems and lyrics.
I'm going to have to see if I've got shit like
lyrics
that.
to John Farnham songs.
Just to fill it out.
And it's all crap. But for some reason, Mark wants me to read this story about the killer rose.
Yeah, and we'll get it hopefully animated.
He wants it animated.
This will be hilarious.
So, are you ready? Today, story time. You ready?
Oh yes, let's go.
Was there something you wanted to say?
No. I won't interrupt.
The Killer Rose by Brendan. Once upon a time, there was a little girl called Fat Stuff. Fat Stuff absolutely adored roses and usually sniffed the smell right off any rose that she sniffed. You like that?
I do. Just the image of it.
One day she was climbing a pine tree when she noticed a giant rose garden far, far away on a distant hill. She couldn't help herself but to jump out of the pine tree and start her voyage across the hills to the rose garden. Suspense?
Keep going.
On Fat Stuff's difficult voyage, she tackled the deadly boogeymen from the oak forests, battled with the dreaded Garfields and Odies in the holiday resorts. What? The dreaded Garfields and Odies in the holiday resorts. And the worst of all, fought through an entire snowfield of Bugs Bunnies. Eventually, she reached her destination, the giant rose garden.
Okay. Yep.
I don't know what sort of things they were feeding us back then, but anyway. She immediately plunged headfirst into the garden, sniffing the smell off the roses themselves.
Just the way it's worded just gets me every time.
She had a wonderful time until she saw a giant mould green rose.
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
The killer rose continued.
The rose rose into the rose-red sky and looked down at Fat Stuff with its gleaming eyes. Fat Stuff had never seen a real live rose and naturally collapsed onto the ground in shock. The rose lowered itself down and looked at Fat Stuff. The rose almost collapsed at the sight of Fat Stuff, but managed to keep itself from doing so. The rose, with its supernatural powers, had an urge about as powerful as 300,000 atom bombs and used its powers to zap Fat Stuff back into his own time? Her?
I guess so.
Time?
You wrote it. You're the mastery behind this.
So that is exactly what it did. Soon after, Fat Stuff woke up in her own pine tree and sighed a sigh of relief. She climbed back down the tree and walked over to her rose garden and trampled it down. She had had enough of stupid old roses, especially red ones. I don't know why red ones. Exhausted, she went back inside to eat a bit of tea and went to bed. She'd had it. The end.
Amazing. What a story. What an adventure.
That's as.
But as I said the first time, like, whatever happened to the mold green rose?
Yeah, I don't know.
It turned to red. Jesus Christ.
That's as imaginative as 14-year-old Brendan gets.
How many days? Like there was 0 days between that entry and that entry.
Well, that's the 8th of Feb 88, and that's the 18th of Feb 88.
Yeah, but you wrote this part on the same day.
Yeah.
Oh no, that must have been the 5th because it's sort of like
Right.
5th and the 8th, and you just didn't go back and read. Oh, what did I say at the end? Mold green rose. Oh fuck it, let's just do red. So
Yeah, there's some pretty crappy
fat stuff.
crappy stuff in there.
I'd be interested. Yeah, I'll have to go through my stuff and dig out this stuff from the past.
Have you got stuff like that?
I think I do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's pretty fascinating to read in hindsight.
Yeah, you sort of get a
For yourself,
look,
not really for
you get a
an
look
audience.
into like the sort of person you were growing up back then, and you go, Jesus Christ, was I that bloody silly?
Talking about go-karting. Yeah.
My sister, the little brat, owns a horse, but only rides it once a week. I have a motorbike and ride it quite often.
So the humble beginnings of Nerb 1.
Okay, the humble beginnings of Nerb 1. At the 5th of February, 88.
Jesus.
At this particular point in time, I live out in Gembrook on a 3.5 acre block. My sister, the little brat, owns a horse, but only rides it once a week.
Terrible.
I have a motorbike, and I ride it quite often. There
Yeah,
you
but
go.
you don't state.
Don't say how often.
Is that once a week as well?
14. Yeah. It's a very old Suzuki 80, almost antique. It runs very well and goes about 50 kilometres per hour flat out. I also have a radio-controlled car called a Hornet. It cost my dad 298 buckaroons. Inside, I have a model aeroplane collection that consists of one F-16, one F-4E Phantom II, one tank,
Quite a list.
one large and one small Mirage, one B-52 bomber, and a couple of others. That's about it for around my place. That's the end of the journal entry. Interestingly, quite a few of those aeroplanes are in a time capsule.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
Where are they?
It's at a guy's place down Gippsland Way, and we put them in there in this was 88, so 1990 we'll put them in there to be opened in 2020, so after
Whoa.
30 years.
Next year.
So next year,
Alright, subscribers. First one to find it.
next year we'll be opening the time capsule.
So why...
It's in someone's property.
Who is this guy?
Oh, it was a neighbour at the time.
Has he moved?
Yeah, they've moved, but they took it with them. They dug it up and put it on the back of a truck. So what it is, they had big plastic buckets, you know, the big sort of painters buckets. They put all the stuff in there.
Was it just you? Like your stuff? Or was it like heaps of kids?
No, everyone that used to hang around that guy's place.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So all the friends and stuff.
What?
There's something. That's right. I'll wrap this up. So they put all the stuff in the bucket, put a burning candle in there, greased up the lid and sealed it on so it burnt all the oxygen out. Put it in this pit and fill it with concrete and put a plaque on the top to be open in 2020. And I remember saying, this is going to be awesome. We're going to cut this thing open with lasers in 2020. Cut it out with lasers to unbury it.
And how disappointed you will be.
I will be next year.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. So I'll make an episode out of that. That'll be quite fascinating.
Yeah, we should.
I put a tape deck with all my cassette tape with all my favourite music.
Oh, my goodness.
How long we got?
Yeah,
30 seconds?
One. Yeah. Well, yeah. Let us know what happens with that.
Let you know what
follow
happens.
along. We want to follow up. That's incredible.
Yeah. So
Cool.
anyway, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Make sure you write to our email at SuperAdventureShow
At gmail.com.
gmail.com.
And we'll see you next week.
Cool. See ya.